My beloved child, listen closely, for these words are not mere sound, but a warning sent from the realm of light. A battle is being fought all around you, not with swords or shouts, but with thoughts and invisible waves creeping into the mind. It doesn't come wearing the face of an enemy, but through things that seem harmless, a small fatigue, a fleeting doubt, a whisper that tempts you to give up. It is in such quiet moments that darkness seeks a resting place. It doesn't rush in like a storm, but seeps in like mist, little by little, until your soul can no longer tell what is light and what is illusion. Yet I, the Lord your God, the one who sees from the beginning to the end, speaks to you now. Stay awake. The enemy does not need to steal everything from you. He only needs to make you doubt my love. Once doubt takes root, it grows into fear, and its fruit is despair. That is where he wins. Do you know why he targets you? Because within you burns the light he lost forever. That light terrifies him, so he does everything he can to make you forget who you are. But I will not allow it. I will not let the soul I breathed life into be twisted by lies. You are the work shaped by my hands, the image of your Creator. The divine breath flows within you. No matter how frail you feel, you carry a glory that even angels bow to behold, and that is why the battle against you is fierce. The enemy is not afraid of those who merely speak about me. He fears those who truly know me, not by knowledge but by communion, not by words of faith but by faith lived out. How long has it been since you last sat still and simply felt my presence? Instead of trying to control everything, have you grown weary of trying to understand the reasons? My child, there are things not meant for you to grasp, but to trust. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. My son declared John 2:029. I am leading you through the darkness, not to punish you, but to open your eyes to the power of light. There are truths only revealed in the deep night. Darkness is not the absence of me. It is the veil I use to hide glory until you are ready to receive it. As Moses hid in the cleft of the rock while my glory passed by, I too am covering you with my hand. You think I am silent, but I am speaking through the stillness. You think I have withdrawn, but I am surrounding you in ways your mind cannot perceive. The enemy will try to tell you that you are alone. That is an ancient lie. I am closer than your breath. When your heart beats, it is I who keep the rhythm. When your tears fall, I count each one. When you sigh, I am listening. I am not distant. I do not forget. I never grow tired of you. Every time you return to me, I see not your failures, I see. My beloved child, do you know that those called to the greatest purpose must first endure the deepest trials? Joseph, whom I chose to save many lives, was thrown into a pit. David, the man after my heart, hid in caves before he sat on the throne. Elijah was so weary he wished for death before he heard me in the gentle whisper. Do not think you are abandoned. You are being trained for a mission heaven has ordained. I am preparing you for something the world has not yet seen. You are not measured by your scars, but by how you allow me to touch them. Every battle in the spiritual realm has a purpose. The enemy never attacks what lacks eternal value. So when your life trembles, do not focus only on what you've lost. Look at what precious thing within you is being protected and formed. I am refining you in the fire like a goldsmith purifying gold. For only when the gold is heated do the impurities rise to the surface to be removed. You are not being destroyed, you are being made pure. And when the process is complete, you will reflect me more clearly than ever before. I know you are weary. I know you long for peace. But peace is not the destination, transformation is. You were not born merely to survive, but to commune with me. Every crack in you is a place where my light can shine through. Every wound is a doorway for grace to enter. The enemy fears grace more than anything, for grace turns defeat into victory. And I am the God of overflowing grace. This battle is not meant to break you, but to reveal me through you. If I allow the wind to blow, it is, so you may learn to spread your wings. If I allow storms to rise, it is so you may learn to stand upon the waves. You will not drown, for there is a hand holding you just beneath the surface. When Peter was sinking, he cried, "Lord, save me." And I reached out and took his hand. You too need only a single cry, and I will be there. You do not need long prayers, just an honest call. I respond to hearts, not words. The enemy whispers that you are weak. But remember, even when you are weak, I am strong in you. When you are exhausted, my power is made perfect. Paul understood this when he said, "When I am weak, then I am strong." 2 Corinthians 1:2-1:0. And you will understand it too. For true strength does not come from ability but from surrender. No one can win this war by their own might. But when you let me fight for you, every chain must break. Do not let fear lead you. Fear does not come from me. It is born of darkness, meant to make you forget that you have an almighty God beside you. Let faith lead instead, not feelings. Feelings change, but my word never does. Anchor your soul to my word, as a ship anchors itself in the storm. When the wind roars, you will not drift. When all around you shakes, you will still stand, because your roots are deep in me. My beloved child, you will see after every attack, you will understand grace more deeply. After every loss, you will see more clearly what truly matters. After every night, the dawn will shine brighter, not because the world has changed, but because you have been changed. That is the purpose of every trial, that you may become like me. Therefore, do not fear the darkness. Remember, it is only the shadow of something already defeated. The enemy has a voice but no power. He can threaten but not decide your destiny. His authority ended at the cross. The blood of the Lamb has declared eternal victory, and you now stand in that triumph. Even when you feel small, you carry within you the power of the one who calmed the sea with a single word. You bear the name above all names. When you call upon me, darkness trembles. When you worship, heaven moves. When you surrender, my kingdom advances. You were chosen for this very hour, not by accident, but by design. I placed you in this generation, in this world of chaos, to be living proof that light still wins. Do not be afraid of being not enough. I have never chosen the qualified, I choose the willing. Be willing. Surrender your heart. Let me awaken the warrior within. This battle will not end in tears, but in triumph. My child, now I want to open before you a dimension the natural eye cannot see. You have heard of the invisible war, but unless you understand where it begins, where it is fought, and where it ends, you will think your battle is against people, circumstances, family work, even yourself, when in truth, the enemy hides behind the curtain, pulling strings from the shadows. So I must tell you clearly, the battle outside you only begins after the one inside you. The enemy does not need to destroy your surroundings if he can first distort your inner compass. Once perception is twisted, the soul can wander off the path while believing it is right. That is his strategy. When I created you, I placed within you a center aligned to me, a space only I can fill, a point of reference so your soul can know where the light is. But ever since sin entered the world, the human mind has been drawn off balance. Instead of seeing through the eyes of the Creator, people began to see through pain, experience, and memory. The enemy knows this, so he always attacks the mind first. He doesn't approach with a sword, but with a thought. It is no coincidence that my son, the Redeemer, was tempted in the wilderness, not with violence, but with words, with distorted scripture, with offers that seemed logical. The enemy did not say, "Abandon your father," but "If you are the Son of God." Just one "if" was enough to strike at identity. That is always where he begins. Understand this, my child. It will set you free from many unnecessary battles. Not every thought that passes through your mind comes from you. Some are planted to test what you will agree with. If you agree with lies, lies gain power. If you agree with bitterness, bitterness grows into a fortress. If you agree with insecurity, insecurity becomes a shadow over all your relationships. That is why I told you, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:2-3. A wounded heart left unhealed becomes the widest gate for darkness. The enemy does not need to break down doors that are already open. The real battle is subtle. It is not loud. It is not always wrapped in obvious sin. Sometimes it comes as spiritual fatigue. You still attend church, still pray, still serve, but the fire is gone. You still hear the word, but it no longer pierces. You still sing, but no longer long for me. That is the sign the enemy has touched the source, not just the surface. He no longer cares whether you appear active outwardly, as long as inwardly you have no life. He is not threatened by those who are busy for me but distant from me. He fears only those who sit in the secret place and listen to my voice. Do you remember Mary? While Martha was busy serving, Mary sat at the feet of Jesus and listened. And my son said, Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her. What did he mean? He meant that every act of service not flowing from presence will eventually become a burden. The enemy wants that. He wants you to serve until you're exhausted to labor, until you're numb to work for me, without walking with me. Because when that happens, you start to think, I am a demanding God, not a loving one. You start praying less, believing you'll never be enough. You begin to withdraw, thinking I am disappointed in you. And when you pull away from me, he draws near. So hear me clearly. Every time you feel like hiding from me, know that it is not my voice. The Holy Spirit never drives you away from Christ. He always draws you toward him, even in your failure. The accusation of darkness leads to shame and hiding. The conviction of the Spirit leads to repentance and return. They are not the same. One says, you're too broken, stay away. The other says, come back, I miss you. One locks you in the past. The other opens the door to your future. One condemns, the other cleanses. If a voice makes you feel distant from me, recognize it is not me. Some think spiritual warfare only happens in great calamities, in sickness, tragedy, or attack. But I tell you, the deepest battles happen in ordinary days. On the day you'd rather pull the blanket over your head than pray. On the day you choose social media over Scripture. On the day you prefer to talk to others rather than talk to me. On the day you think, it's fine, I'll pray tomorrow. On those days, your soul is choosing not in grand decisions, but in small ones. Yet those small choices repeated form a spiritual path. One who chooses me daily, even for 10 minutes, will stand firm when the storm comes. One who neglects me daily, even for 10 minutes, will fall when a mere breeze blows. My beloved child, the battlefield you face lies not in the noise around you, but in the quiet layers of your mind. It is there that you decide what to believe. Will you trust in what you feel, or in what I have spoken? Will you believe what you see before you, or the covenant that stands forever? Will you hold on to the words that wounded you, or to the name I have given you? Will you dwell in shame, or stand beneath the cross? The enemy cannot steal a soul already redeemed, but he can make that soul live as though it never was. He cannot break my covenant, but he can make you forget it. That is why I say to you, remember. Remember what? Remember that I have rescued you before. Remember the doors I have opened. Remember the nights you wept, yet still found yourself alive at dawn. Remember the moments you thought it was over, yet somehow kept walking. Remember the small miracles. Remember how I redirected your path. Remember even the prayers I did not answer for. Now you can see how I protected you from what you once desired. To remember is a spiritual act. It pulls the mind out of lies and brings it back to truth. David once said, "Oh, my soul, remember," because he knew that if he let his emotions lead, he would sink. But when he remembered, When he recalled the hand that saved him from the lion and the bear, he could stand before Goliath. You too cannot face your giants unless you remember your smaller victories. You often ask, Lord, why did you allow this? But I ask you, my child, why did you allow that thought to remain? You are quick to treat the sickness of the body, but you tolerate the sickness of the soul. You rush to the doctor when your flesh aches, but you let bitterness dwell in your heart for months without handing it to me. You hurry to heal what can be seen, yet delay healing what cannot. Meanwhile, darkness knows this. If it can keep your heart wounded, every promise I speak will sound true but feel unreachable. That is its victory. So I will teach you how to fight, not by shouting at the dark, but by standing firm in truth. As my son did in the wilderness when he said, "It is written, so must you." Not because I need to hear you recite scripture, but because your soul needs to hear you declare it. When you speak my word, you bring your awareness back under my authority. My word is not for memory alone. It drives out fear, lifts the mind from the pit, and awakens identity. Every time you declare it, you proclaim, I belong to the kingdom of light, not to darkness. Every time you worship when you feel nothing, you strike the enemy's head, for he hates that. He wants you to worship only when life feels good. But I am teaching you to worship the Redeemer, not your circumstances. My child, there is another weapon the enemy uses: comparison. He knows you are too mature to fall into obvious sin, so he tempts you in subtler ways by showing you the paths of others and whispering that you have been forgotten. He doesn't need to attack your faith directly. He only needs to make you feel less loved. Once that thought takes root, you begin to believe I favor others more. But hear me, I love each child in the way they need, not in the way they expect. I lead one through the wilderness to make them strong. Another I lead through green pastures to give them rest. If your rhythm is slower, it does not mean you are behind. It means I am writing a different story. Do not let the enemy convince you to quit just because your journey looks different. I do not measure you by speed, but by faithfulness. Therefore, guard the gates of your heart, the gate of memory, the gate of pain, the gate of expectation. Let me stand watch with you. Let my light expose the thoughts you assumed were yours but were not. Let me unmask the voices wearing the disguises of logic, self-protection, and wisdom, which are really scary and clever disguise. Learn to know my voice, the voice that is gentle yet sharp, loving yet firm, a voice that never drags you down but always lifts you up. This battle is not meant to prove your strength. It is meant to reveal that I am enough. When you grasp the true nature of this war, you will argue less with people, blame yourself less, and resent me less. You will begin to stand in the right place, the place of a child surrounded, protected, and taught. From there, you will not merely survive, you will help others escape the same traps that once held you. For I do not only intend to rescue you, I intend to use you to rescue many. My child, now that you understand the war is not only outside but hidden within thoughts and choices, I want you to pause, not to retreat, but to return. Not to a location, but to me, the one who loved you before you could ask, who kept you before you knew my name. The battle you are in cannot be won by human will or strength. Only returning to me opens the path to victory. For victory is not when the enemy falls, it is when you stand firm in me. You have believed that coming back requires conditions, that you must be better, cleaner, more ready before approaching me. But I tell you, returning is not a reward for the perfect. It is the remedy for the broken. You need not wait until you are worthy, for I am the one who makes you worthy. Like the father of the prodigal, I do not wait for you to knock, I run to meet you on the road. I embrace you, even while your clothes are still covered in dust. You expect rebuke, but I only cry out, my child who was lost has been found. My beloved child, within every soul echoes a call to return to the source. That call never fades, even when you try to bury it beneath busyness, worry, or unhealed wounds. You can hide from human voices, but you cannot silence my voice within you. It is the echo of the first breath I breathed into you when I created you. It is the eternal invitation, return to me, for I have redeemed you. You may feel like a stranger, but I have never stopped calling you mine. You may feel lost, but I know every step you take. Each wandering step you make, I record, not to condemn, but to come find you. I do not stand at the finish line waiting for you to arrive. I walk the road backward to reach your hand. I know you are afraid. You fear that my light will expose what you do not wish to see. But my child, my light does not reveal to humiliate, it reveals to heal. When I shine upon you, it is not to shame you, but to touch what must be restored. Pain can only be released when brought into the light. You cannot be healed in the shadows you continue to hide. I do not love you in spite of your brokenness. I love you within it. My love does not retreat from your sin, it moves closer. That is why my Son came to earth, not to welcome the perfect, but to embrace those who believed themselves beyond value. When he stretched his arms on the cross, it was not only an act of endurance, it was the open embrace that waits for your return. I have seen your effort. I have seen the tears behind your smile, the sleepless nights when your mind will not rest. I know you do not intend to drift from me, you are simply tired. You just want a moment of quiet. But the peace the world offers is an illusion. It numbs for a while, then leaves a deeper emptiness. The peace I give does not come from escaping reality, but from letting me enter it with you. When I am present, even in the storm, your heart will rest. When I reign, you will find calm, not because the storm ends, but because you are no longer afraid of it. You do not need to clean the house of your soul before inviting me in. Let me clean it with you. Let me sweep away the dust of the past, wash the walls stained with fear, and open the windows to let the light in. I am not afraid of the mess. I once stepped into Lazarus's tomb, touched the leper, and knelt to write in the dust to defend the condemned woman. There is no place too defiled for me to enter, no soul too dark for my light to reach. You need only to open the door, just a crack, and the light will pour in. Perhaps you ask, but what if I fall again, if I am weak again, if I fail again? I say to you, then I will still be there. My love does not shift with your behavior. My grace does not expire after the first fall. The number of your failures does not matter as much as your willingness to return. Every return brings joy to heaven. There is no limit to my mercy, no quota to my forgiveness. I do not count your sins. I count your heartbeats that still long for me. And each time I come again without fatigue, without regret, without hesitation. What do I desire from you? Not perfection, not performance, not ritual. I want honesty. Come to me with your truth, even if it is ugly. Come with your unanswered questions, with your anger, with your emptiness, with the fears you thought I would reject. I am not offended by them. I am a father, not a judge. The more honest you are, the more room I have to work, because I only heal what you are willing to hand me. When you return, nothing is lost. You think you must give up something, but truly you are laying down what has imprisoned you. You think you are losing freedom, but you are being set free. You think you are losing yourself, but you are finding who you really are, the one made in my image. Everything you surrender into my hands becomes a seed for something new. Every wound you give me becomes a testimony. Every tear becomes a river that nourishes other thirsty souls. Here is my decree, return, for I have redeemed you with my own blood. There is no distance between you and me that the cross cannot bridge. No pit so deep that grace cannot reach its bottom. No night so long that light cannot break through. I am the God who stands on the shore watching the horizon for your return. And when you are still far away, I run to meet you place. My robe around your shoulders, my ring on your finger, and I say, My child, who is dead now, lives again, who was lost is found. You are no longer a slave to fear. You are my child. You no longer need to hide in the shadows, you are called into the light. You no longer need to seek belonging among what is temporary. You have an eternal home in me. Let me teach you how to breathe again, how to love, how to live. Let me write a new chapter on the pages you thought were torn. Let me give you new eyes so that when you look at the world, you no longer see threat but purpose. Let me turn fear into confidence, tears into songs, ashes into glory. And you will see returning is not an ending, but the beginning of a new journey. A journey where you walk not to prove, but to walk with me. There you and I are no longer two, but one. There you no longer live in fear of abandonment, but in the certainty that I am with you always, even to the end of the age. My child, I want to lead you deeper into a journey many fear, but it is where grace blooms most brilliantly, refinement. Do not tremble at that word, for I do not speak of punishment, but of process. The process that purifies your soul, that makes your faith shine like gold. Everything I allow in your life, great or small, serves one purpose, that you might become more like me. The world calls suffering failure, but heaven calls it the school of faith. Just as gold reveals its luster only through fire, the soul reveals its beauty through trial. When joy teaches you, you learn gratitude, but when pain teaches you, you learn my nature. In the wilderness, you discover I am a provider. In darkness, you discover I am light. In silence, you discover I am the living word. Without these seasons, you would think faith is a feeling, not a foundation. You ask, why do you allow pain, loss, hardship? I answer, because I am teaching you to trust beyond what you feel. If faith exists only when you see, then it is not faith. When Abraham raised the knife over his only son, I did not test him to wound him, but to reveal how deeply he trusted. When he lifted his eyes, he saw the ram caught in the thicket. My child, every trial carries its provision. There is no flame I allow without the stream I have prepared. No tear falls that I do not turn into the seed of another harvest. I know refinement can feel unbearable, that the soul feels it might break. But remember, pain is not proof of punishment, it is the sign of becoming. Like a seed that must crack to sprout, your soul must break out of its shell of comfort to grow into new depths with me. When you pray for stronger faith, I do not give it as an instant gift. I place you in moments where faith must work. When you ask for patience, I do not drop it from heaven. I let you walk through long waiting so every fiber of your being learns stillness with trust. When you ask for peace, I do not remove the storm, I teach you to rest within it. Every prayer is an invitation to process. Remember, I do not test you to see if you are faithful, I already know. I test you so you may see how faithful you truly are. I do not test you to make you fail, but so you might discover the strength within you that you never knew. When you stand in the fire and are not consumed, you will realize there is a fourth man with me in the flames. As with the 3 friends of Daniel, it is in the fire that my presence shines the brightest. Had I removed the fire, they would never have known how mighty I am to save. My beloved child, I never let your pain become meaningless. Every tear has a place in my great design. Every dry season has a reason to exist. When you thought you were being stripped, I was actually shaping you. When you thought I was taking away, I was preparing you to carry more. Do you remember Joseph, sold as a slave, forgotten in prison, misunderstood, yet every day was a step on the map toward the throne? If you had met him in the dungeon, you would have said he was abandoned. But if you met him after, you would have seen what looked like loss was only repositioning for greater grace. I want you to understand something. Deep refinement doesn't just change circumstances, it changes nature. After each trial, you are not only stronger, you are different. Like soil after rain is no longer parched earth, so a soul after tears is no longer the same. Suffering softens the heart, so I can write on it what joy is too gentle to carve. The greatest lessons are not taught on the mountain height, but written with tears in the valley. And those who have walked that valley, when they speak, their words heal. Do not be afraid when things inside you begin to change. When I refine, you will find you are no longer comfortable with what you once called normal. You will find silence more precious than noise, true worship more important than form, and my presence more valuable than earthly success. That is the sign of spiritual maturity, when you begin to love what I love and hate what I hate. Do not think you are losing feelings. You are being reoriented. I know you want everything to be quick, but gold cannot be formed in moments. There are long seasons that feel endless, but they are the seasons in which I am rewriting the structure of your soul. If I let the process run long, it is because I want the result to last. Remember, you are not abandoned in the furnace. You are being forged in my hands. I am right there like the smith, watching the flame, measuring every instant. A good smith stops only when he can see his own reflection in the gold. So do I. When you reflect on me, I know the process is complete. When you ask when I want you to know, I do not count time as you do. A day to me is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years like a day. I am not slow. I love you too much to let you come out half-formed. If I stop too soon, you would not be able to bear the glory I have prepared. If I let you grow only halfway, honor would crush shoulders not yet strong. So I am patient, and I invite you to be patient with yourself. Believe that every day is not delay but preparation. I do not want you to only know about me. I want you to become like me. And to become like me, you must walk through the kinds of fire I walked through, not to prove your worth, but to understand the depth of love. Once refined, you will see others' pain through. My eyes speak with my compassion, act with my hands. Then you will no longer merely believe, you will carry me to the world. My child, I want to show you something even deeper than refinement. A wound is not a weakness, it is a doorway. In this world, people hide their scars, flee from their broken places. But in my kingdom, it is precisely the places of wounding that become the channels of grace. I do not display my glory through what looks flawless. I shine through what has been broken. Only where there is a crack can light pass through. Remember when I raised my son, he did not erase his wounds. He kept the nail marks and the spear mark. He didn't need them to prove victory, but to remind humanity that true glory is never separated from suffering. When Thomas doubted, he did not scold. He said, "Put your hand here." He let a man touch his wounds because it is there that faith was born. Do you see? It is not the polished success that makes others believe, it is the redeemed wound. I want you to learn the same. What wounds you today will become tomorrow's testimony of my kindness. A wound is not meant to destroy you, but to open you so you can know mercy more deeply. When you are betrayed, you learn faithfulness. When you are abandoned, you learn my presence. When you are rejected, you learn that true love is unconditional. When you lose, you learn that I myself am your portion. If I allow a wind to topple a tree, it is because I know there is a forest in its seed. Do not despise your wound. Do not see it as shame. Your wound is where my grace entered, and it is also where I want to flow out to others. When I said comfort those in any trouble with the comfort you yourselves have received, 2 Corinthians 1:4, I was not asking you to teach from books, but to speak from encounter. You cannot heal with theory. Only those who have hurt and then met me there can speak with authority. The tears you cry today, I will turn into healing oil for other souls tomorrow. I do not want you to merely get past the wound. I want you to see me in it. When you find me there, the wound loses its power to destroy. It becomes a meeting place, like Jacob, who limped after that night of wrestling, yet carried a sacred mark from then on. See, the wound did not take strength away, it made strength holy. Those who have never been broken can easily judge. Those who have been broken and restored learn to bow to show mercy, to sit in silence with another's pain. That humility is the fragrance of heaven I delight in. Some wounds have been there so long you have started to call them me. You have lived with pain so long you don't know how to live without it. You say, "This is who I am. This is what I must carry forever." But I say to you, no, pain does not define you. I define you. The wound does not have the final word. I am the final word. Let me touch that place, though it is old, though it is deep, though you'd rather never speak of it. Let me step into that room of memory where you locked yourself away. I do not come to replay your failure, but to unlock a door long shut. When I enter, no past is strong enough to hold you. I know there are memories that still make you tremble. I know there are words spoken long ago that still pierce. But my child, I will not let that pain go to waste. Everything you have walked through can become material for a new song I will write. Let me turn the very tool of destruction into the tool of healing. As Joseph said, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Genesis 5:20. So it will be with your wounds. The very thing that once tripped you will become the place you stand firm, because there I will lay the foundation of your calling. You ask, "Lord, why don't you heal me instantly?" I answer, "Because I want to heal to the root." Your pain is not only in the event, it is in the meaning you attach to it. I must undo every knot, every false belief buried deep in you that you are unworthy, that you are forsaken, that you will never be enough. I do not patch wounds, I create a new heart. And when that new heart is formed, you will love without fear of loss, give without demanding return, forgive without needing to be understood. Because then the love in you will no longer be limited, it will have become like mine. My beloved child, grace always finds its way to the lowest place. Like water flowing into the valleys, grace seeks the cracks, the broken ground, the wounded heart. Do not block it with pride or the fear of being hurt again. Open your heart just a little, and you will see me pour in. When grace touches you, it does not merely comfort, it transforms. It softens what was once hard, makes weary eyes see beauty through tears, and turns bitter words into gentle rivers of life. Grace does not paint over wounds like polish. It flows through them, making them transparent so that my light can shine through. My child, your wounds are evidence that you have loved, believed, and truly lived. They are not signs of failure, but marks of courage. Every scar upon your soul is a testimony that you walked through a valley where darkness thought it could keep you, but it failed. You are no longer a victim. You are a witness of grace. You no longer tell stories of pain, you tell of the one who delivered you from it. And when you do, others will realize that they too can be healed. Let your wounds speak for you, not with the sound of sobs, but with the song of redemption. Let your story end not in tragedy, but in resurrection. Let others look at you and see that I still move, still transform, still breathe life. And when they ask, "How did you survive all that?" you will smile and say, "Because he was with me." That answer alone is the greatest miracle. I tell you this so you may understand. I do not erase wounds, I sanctify them. Through them I enter your life. Through them I shape you into my likeness, gentler, deeper, stronger. And when you carry those scars through the world, they will gleam like jewels forged in fire, reminding you that true love does not avoid pain, it overcomes it and turns it into glory. My child, now sit quietly and listen, for this is the heart of everything. You are walking through. Faith is not born in comfort, it is forged in fire. There is no flame I allow that exists only to destroy. Every fire I send carries a mission. It comes to burn away the false, to consume the chains that bind the soul, so that when the smoke clears, only what is true remains, what belongs to me. Faith is not a feeling, it is a choice. It does not waver with emotion, but is shaped in adversity. When life is easy, you do not need faith. for every answer is within reach. But when you stand where there is no visible way, when your prayers seem to echo into silence, when your emotions are dry and the heavens still, that is when faith begins to breathe. Faith does not inhale comfort. It inhales darkness and exhales trust. It walks without seeing and sings before there is a song. Do you remember Abraham, when I promised him descendants as numerous as the stars he believed? Yet that belief was not complete until he laid his son on the altar. In that moment when logic, emotion, and fatherly love all screamed against him, his faith touched eternity. It was no longer faith for reward. It was faith in the one who promised. He stopped believing in what I would do and trusted in who I am. That is the faith I long to see in you. Faith that stands when miracles have not come. Faith that is still quiet when promises seem far. Faith that bows and worships even while tears still fall. I do not use fire to frighten you, but to teach you the difference between what is temporary and what is eternal. In fire, true gold is never afraid. It is only the impurities that burn away. Likewise, what is not of me will dissolve, but what I have planted in you will shine brighter after every flame. Sometimes you cling to what I am trying to remove, not because I wish to take from you, but because I want you free. You cannot soar while clutching what has expired. I must loosen your grasp so my hands can work. You often pray, Lord, give me more faith, but faith does not arrive as a gentle breeze. It comes like a storm. It comes when every support is removed, when you must choose to believe though every fact denies hope. It comes when you look around and see nothing but darkness and still declare, I know my Redeemer lives. Job 1:9-5. Job, who lost everything, proved that faith does not depend on outcomes, but on relationships. Remember, faith does not keep you from the fire, it keeps you through it. Daniel's 3 friends were not saved from the furnace, but in it. And when they came out, Scripture says, not even the smell of smoke clung to them. Do you understand? The fire did not destroy it, released them. The ropes that bound them burned away, and they walked free. So too, the fires you face are not sent to consume you, but to free you from chains you didn't know you carried. You often say, I trust you, but I ask, do you trust me, even when you do not see what you asked for? True faith is proven, not when you rejoice at the miracle, but when you rest in the delay. When you whisper, you are good, even when nothing looks good. That is the faith before which heaven stands in awe. I love that faith because it mirrors my own heart. I know the fire hurts. I know there are nights when you want to quit, but the fire does not last forever. It has a beginning and an appointed end. I control both. I am the God of the furnace and the God of the cool wind afterward. When I let the heat rise, it is not because I have forgotten you, but because I know you are stronger than you think. I never let the fire burn a moment longer than necessary. When its purpose is complete, I will extinguish it, and you will emerge not just surviving, but radiant. Look back at the times you thought you would not make it, the times you believed you had broken, and yet you stood. The nights you thought you could not breathe, and yet you are still here. That is not a chance. That is proof that I was with you. You have no idea how many arrows I deflected, how many storms I stilled before they reached you. You see a few scars, but if you could see the full picture, you would fall in worship. For the fire could only touch you because I permitted it, and I only permit what will serve good. So, my child, do not run from the fire I have set. Stand in it with me. Let me teach you that fire is not the enemy, it is the teacher. It teaches humility for you. See, you cannot save yourself. It teaches dependence for you. Realize, only I keep you safe. It teaches trust for you. Learn that surrender is the only way forward. And in the moment you think it's the end, you will find faith is not striving, it is resting. It is not forcing yourself to believe something, but resting in someone. Each time you praise me in the fire, that sound reaches my throne. There is no melody more beautiful in heaven than the worship of a soul under refinement. It carries the scent of truth, of loyalty, of love, without condition. Even the angels fall silent before it, for it is a song they cannot sing. Only those who have walked through flames and still love can lift that hymn. When you say, "Even if you do not save me the way I hoped, I will still worship you," heaven trembles. Darkness collapses, for that is pure faith, the kind that makes hell tremble. When you come out of the fire, I promise you will not be the same. You will not speak of me as theory, but as experience. You will not tell of miracles, you will become one. You will carry in your eyes the light of one who saw me in the flames. You will speak with the tenderness of one I rescued. You will walk with the authority of one I set free. And others, when they look at you, will say, "I see God in you." That is the purpose of refinement, not to prove something about you, but to reveal me through you. Therefore, do not fear the fire. Do not despise the trial. Do not think I have abandoned you in the furnace. I am there, watching every flicker, measuring every spark. I know when to add fuel, when to ease the flame, and when to open the door for you to step out. And when I see my reflection in you, I will say, "It is finished." And when you emerge, you will carry the fragrance of heaven, the radiance of redemption, and the strength of faith refined by fire. My beloved child, true faith cannot be borrowed, memorized, or handed down. It must be born. And you, my chosen one, are in that process right now. Do not resist it. Let the fire do its work, and you will see what makes you weep today will make you worship tomorrow. What wounds you now will strengthen you later. What feels like an ending will open into a new beginning. For I am the God who turns ashes into glory, tears into seed trials into testimony. And when the process is complete, you will understand faith is not found in comfort. It is born in the fire where you and I meet most truthfully. My child, when you have been refined by fire and have learned what true faith is, I need you to understand something even deeper, something every force of darkness fears. You will discover the greatest battle is not over circumstances, but over identity. The enemy does not fear those who merely work for me. He fears those who know who they are in me. For when a soul sees itself in the light of its Creator, darkness loses all claim. The enemy cannot possess what has found its root in eternity. From the beginning, he has always attacked identity. In the garden, he did not tell Adam and Eve that I was not real. He asked, "Did God really say?" A simple question, yet it planted doubt about my nature. And when you doubt me, you begin to doubt yourself, for you were made in my image. That is his oldest deception, to distort the image I imprinted within you. Once that image is blurred, you will spend your life trying to prove your worth instead of living from it. You will chase validation in fading things, forgetting you already bear divine fingerprints. Be alert, my child. The assault on identity seldom comes with noise, it whispers. You are not enough. You are unworthy. You are less loved. You will never change. These small lies, repeated over time, build a wall inside your soul. And when that wall thickens, you stop hearing my voice. You begin to think it's your own reasoning, but it is the echo of deception. I never speak in the language of belittlement. I correct, but I never condemn. I teach, but I never tear down. My voice always carries warmth, even when it cuts like a sword. If a voice drives you to shame and hiding, know this, it is not mine. The enemy cannot take what I have given, but he can make you doubt it. He knows that doubt is enough to make you surrender your own authority. He doesn't need real chains, only the illusion of them. He doesn't need locked doors, only to make you afraid to try the handle. And so millions of souls live in invisible prisons, cages, built from fear, guilt, and comparison. But I tell you today, the door is open. The chains are broken. All you need to do is step out. You are not defined by your past, nor confined by your mistakes. You are not measured by success or failure. Your identity is not rooted in titles, talents, or human approval. It comes from a place untouched by the world. It comes from me. When I formed you, I copied no one. I did not repeat a pattern. I placed within you a unique reflection of myself. Every soul is a mirror of a facet of my glory. No one else can reflect your part. If you don't live from your true identity, heaven's masterpiece is missing a color. The world will always label you good, bad, worthy, unworthy, winner, loser. But I call you by name, not by labels. When you hear my call, you will know the voice of your Father. My voice does not command, it invites. Come. My voice does not say, earn my love, but abide in it. My voice does not say, do better, but let me work in you. I do not need you to prove anything. I need you to believe what I have spoken. But I know, beloved, that the world has shaped you for too long. You have heard too many voices, some from others, some from within. They told you that you were late, useless, forgotten. My child, I never say such things. I am the restorer of time. I not only redeem souls, I redeem the years that were stolen. I not only forgive, I restore. The years devoured by loss, I will repay. The dreams buried by disappointment, I will resurrect. The callings you thought were silenced, I will awaken. The enemy trembles when you remember who you are, for then you begin to act like the true child of God. You will no longer beg like a beggar, but declare like an heir. You will no longer search for love because you know you are loved. You will no longer compete for a position because you already have a seat at my table. You will no longer try to prove yourself because my presence in you is the proof itself. And when you walk in that truth, heaven rejoices and hell trembles. My child, do not forget true identity cannot be learned through information. It is revealed through relationships. You truly know yourself only when you know me. The closer you draw to me, the clearer you see who you are. Just as still water reflects the face of one who gazes upon it, a peaceful soul reflects the image of its creator. But when your heart is restless, the image is distorted. That is why I call you into stillness, not to make you idle, but to make you whole. In stillness, identity is restored not through effort, but through presence. You see, every temptation from the beginning until now centers around identity. My son was tested in the wilderness, and the tempter began with the words, "If you are the Son of God." The enemy knew who he was, but wanted him to prove it. The greatest temptation was not to turn stones into bread. It was to prove identity already spoken. But my son did not fall for the trap. He didn't need to prove what the Father had already declared. This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased. Matthew 3:17. My child, the same is true for you. I have spoken the same over your life. You do not need to prove it. You only need to live as one who believes it. Remember, this identity is not created, it is discovered. You don't need to become someone else, you need to return to who you already are in me. In my eyes, you are not incomplete, you are in progress toward fullness. I see potential where you see limitations. I see light where you see night. I see a warrior where you see weakness. I see my chosen one even when you feel small. You see scars. I see crowns. You count failures. I count resurrections. You think you're lost. I see you coming home. Do not let anything steal the identity I gave you. When you know who you are, the enemy's words lose power. When you stand in the light, darkness has no claim. When you know you are loved, fear dissolves. When you believe you are chosen, you walk in authority. Identity is not just what you believe. It is the foundation of all you will ever do. If the foundation stands firm, everything else will stand. And remember, my child, the enemy cannot touch you unless you leave your position. Your position is in me. There you are covered. There you are incomparable, unshakable, untouchable. There you hear only one voice, the voice of everlasting love. And that voice still speaks today. You are mine. You are loved. You are chosen. You bear my image. And nothing can take that away from you, my beloved child. Your identity in me is something darkness cannot steal. And when you truly know it, you will walk in freedom. Not the kind of freedom that chases every impulse, but the freedom to finally live as the son, the daughter, who was designed to shine in this world. My child, I want you to look more deeply into the very thing the enemy has been trying to distort your whole life, your divine identity in me. Because when you truly see who you are in the light of the Creator, every chain breaks, every lie is unmasked, and every fear dissolves. You are not the product of a mistake or coincidence. You are an eternal thought in my heart, woven from the mind, the breath, and the love of the one who made the heavens. You are not merely a creature, you are a bearer of my breath, shaped by my hands and called by my name. Before the world was formed, I knew you. Before a word was on your tongue, I had already written your name in the book of life. Before there was sin, there was already a cross. Before you wandered, I had already prepared the way back. You were never an adjustment to my plan. You were part of the original design, a precious gem hidden in the earth, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. When I say you are chosen, it does not mean I picked you because you were better than others. I chose you because I saw in you what I placed there. Like a seed is chosen because it carries a forest inside, I chose you because there is a kingdom inside you. My choosing is not based on performance, it is based on grace. And that grace cannot be bought, traded, or erased. The enemy will tell you, you don't deserve it, but I never built your value on deserving. I built it on everlasting love. It was love that redeemed you, not with silver or gold, but with the blood of my only Son, the only price great enough to snap every chain. When my Son declared on the cross, "It is finished," it was not resignation, it was proclamation. The sentence is canceled, you are redeemed. The covenant is sealed in blood. No one can rewrite what I have signed with the life of my Son. So do not live like someone still in debt. You owe darkness nothing. You are no longer under the accusation of your past. You have been freed, forgiven, restored. You were not just saved from something, you were saved for something. Grace did not only pull you out of the pit, it seated you in your rightful place. And that place is with me in the heavenly realms, seated with Christ Jesus. Ephesians 2:6. You are no longer at the door begging, you are inside the house. You no longer have to knock, the door is open and the table is set. You have been anointed. What does that mean, my child? It means I have placed on you a spiritual mark, an authority the world cannot grant and cannot take away. Anointing is not a ritual, it is a sign of belonging. When I anoint, I distinguish. I cover you with protection, wisdom, and authority for the assignment I give. Anointing is not to make you admired, it is to make you effective. Just as David was anointed among his brothers while still a shepherd boy, you too were anointed in the ordinary days to be ready for extraordinary days. Do not despise the season before your sending, for it is the training ground. When I anoint, I do not put you straight on the throne. I often take you through the wilderness, not to harm you, but to teach you to live like one who is chosen. Anointing does not exempt you from trials. It guarantees victory in them. That oil will keep the flame alive in the wind. That oil will help you discern my voice among 1,000 others. That oil will keep your eyes clear in the night and your heart warm when the world grows cold. You are chosen, but you are also being prepared. I never call without equipping. Every wound you have borne, every failure you have survived, every lesson you have cried through, these are parts of the arsenal of your soul. When the time comes, I will weave them together like notes in a symphony of grace. And then you will understand why I allowed nothing to be wasted. The enemy wanted to use your past to shame you, but I will use it to teach you the power of forgiveness. When you forgive yourself, you step out of the shadow of yesterday and into the light of the new day. You ask me, Lord, am I really chosen even when I'm still weak, still afraid, still prone to fall? And I answer you, precisely because you are weak, I chose you so that my power may be made perfect in you. 2 Corinthians 1:2-9. I do not need perfect people to do a perfect work. I need hearts that lean on me. Dependence is your strength, because when you lean on me, you cannot be shaken. You no longer stand by willpower but by grace. You no longer fight to prove but to reveal. You were not only rescued from darkness, you were entrusted with light. I did not place a lamp in you for you to hide it under a table, but to give light to the whole house. That light is not yours, it is mine in you. But for it to shine, you must believe in the source within. Do not look at yourself through the world's mirror. Do not let what others have called you become your reality. Let my word be the only mirror you look into. When you look there, you will not only see a sinner forgiven, but a person sent anointed and authorized to bring life where death has reigned. My beloved child, when I declare that you are redeemed, it means that every debt between you and justice has been fully paid. No one can reclaim what I have already redeemed. No accusation has authority over a soul cleansed by blood. You no longer need to hide, prove, or justify yourself. Stand upright in the righteousness I have clothed you with, like a white robe wrapped around your shoulders. Walk with your head held high, for you are no longer condemned. There is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:1. Remember this. My choice was not only that you might be loved, but that you might become love. Not only that you might be saved, but that you might bring salvation. Not only that you might be anointed, but that you might carry the oil wherever you go. You were not chosen to escape the world, but to transform it, to be a vessel through which light can touch dark places. I have given you hands to heal the hurting eyes, to see what others overlook, and a heart to love as I love. Every step you take leaves the fragrance of my presence behind. You are chosen, redeemed, and anointed not to display yourself, but to reflect me. When the world looks at you, I want them to see my eyes in yours, my voice in your speech, and my love in every action. That is the true identity of the restored one, no longer living for yourself, but as me living in you. And when you understand this, fear will lose its power for you, will know that you do not fight from the posture of a victim, but from the victory of the cross. My child, pause now and listen deeply, for what I speak will redefine how you see yourself. You are not what happened to you. You are not the sum of your mistakes, your pain, or others' perceptions. You are defined by the one who called you by name, and my word never returns void. When I say you are mine, the universe bows to that truth. No darkness, no accusation, no power in heaven or earth can erase the name I have written upon you. The enemy will try to drag you back into old chapters, so you forget that I have already written new ones. He wants you imprisoned in yesterday's verdict, while I am opening the door to today's promise. But beloved, I do not dwell in what was. I dwell in what is being made new. Behold, I am making all things new. Revelation 2:1-5. Every thread of your story, painful, broken, or bright, is being woven into a tapestry of glory. The tangled threads of sorrow are becoming radiant seams of purpose. Do not let the past accuse you for one more day. I do not remember your sin once you have repented. I keep no record to read back whenever you stumble. When I forgive, I cast it behind my back as far as the east is from the west. Psalm 103:1-2. You may recall it, but I have forgotten. You may feel guilt, but I have stamped it with a seal. It is finished. The cross is not merely a symbol of forgiveness. It is proof of a new identity, from sinner to righteous one, from outcast to child, from wanderer to one sent on mission. I do not see you through the lens of the past. I see you through the promise I placed on your life. When I looked at Gideon trembling in the winepress, I saw not fear but a warrior. When I looked at Peter who denied me, I saw not betrayal but a preacher who would awaken nations. When I looked at Mary Magdalene despised by the world, I saw the first herald of resurrection. Likewise, when I look at you, I do not see scars, I see the calling hidden within them. I do not see sin, I see grace greater than sin. I do not see ashes, I see beauty forming from them. I know there are things you've done that still make you ashamed, but you cannot carry what I already carried. If you keep holding it, you bear a burden already lifted. Let it go. Believe that I not only forgive but redeem. Forgiveness erases sin. Redemption transforms it into strength. I will use what once wounded you to heal others. The place where you fell will become the place where you lift others up. The tears you shed will become living water for thirsty souls. For I am the God who turns weakness into strength, shame into glory, and scars into stories of grace. Do not let the accuser's voice echo in your mind. He can recall your past deeds, but he cannot comprehend what I am building. He speaks of failure, I speak of formation. He sees the break, I see the birth. He knows sin, I know the cross. He sees history, I hold destiny. Each time he reminds you of what was, remind him of what is finished. The blood of the Lamb has redeemed me. That is not an excuse. It is your declaration of victory. You no longer need to live in the shadows of comparison. You do not need to be someone else. You need only to become the truest version of yourself in me. Every gift, every limitation, every quirk has purpose. I made no mistake in what I placed within you. Even what you call weakness plays a role in the design of grace. Just as the body has many members, each vital, so your soul has its ordained place in my plan. Stop measuring yourself by others' timelines. See yourself through my eyes, and you will know nothing in you is wasted. You were never created to chase perfection, but to reflect me. Light does not have to be flawless to shine. It only has to be turned on. And I have turned you on in this world to illuminate the places you stand. I do not ask you to be grand, only faithful. I do not ask you to know everything, only to trust. I do not ask you to be strong every moment, only to hold my hand. It is in that simplicity that I am revealed most clearly. Do not confuse temporary failure with eternal judgment. Failure is not your end, it is your lesson. Every fall can become a stepping stone if you reach for my hand. You are not broken, you are being shaped. You are not late, you are being aligned. Time in. My hands does not move like the world's clocks. What you call too late, I call on time. What you think is delay, I call ripening. Stop measuring yourself by the calendars of others. Let me be the clock of your soul. Hear me. My power is in you not to avoid trials but to overcome them, not to escape reality but to turn it into a place where my glory dwells. When you pray, I do not only listen, I move through you. When you speak my word, it doesn't just comfort you, it shakes the spirit realm. When you forgive, heaven opens. When you love, darkness retreats. When you praise me in pain, resurrection power is released. This is the strength of the redeemed. So do not say I'm just ordinary. No, you carry the presence of the Eternal One. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives in you. When you enter a room, light enters with you. When you pray, heaven stirs. When you love, the world shifts. You do not need to create the miraculous. Presence is. My presence in you already is. Engrave this truth upon your heart. You are not defined by what you've done, by what others think, or by what you've lost. You are defined by the one who called you, and I do not change my mind. I call you beloved, for my love does not waver. I call you chosen, for my purpose still stands. I call you victorious, for you stand in Christ's victory. I call you light of the world, for you reflect my brightness in the night. And I call you covenant bearer, for no power can break what I sealed in blood. Now walk in that truth, my child. For when you know who you are, you will no longer live from what you've been through. You will live from who you were made to be. And when you do, the world will not just see a restored person, they will see God restoring through you. My child, there will be seasons when heaven feels silent. You will pray, yet your words seem to fall into empty space. You will open Scripture and find every line strangely quiet. You will look around and see closed doors, dim paths, and winds that whisper loneliness. You will ask, Lord, are you still there? What have I done to lose your voice? I know that feeling. Even those I loved most walk through it. Abraham waited years in silence. Job cried from ashes and heard no reply. Mary and Martha wept at Lazarus's tomb, thinking I came too late. And even my son, hanging on the cross, cried, my God, why have you forsaken me? Matthew 2:7-4-6. Yet, child, silence is not absence. When I am silent, I am still at work. When I am quiet, I am weaving something deeper than you can yet perceive. You are used to hearing me through words. You find comfort in my spoken voice. But I am also the God who speaks through stillness. When I am silent, I am not punishing. I am shifting the way we commune from the voice outside to the whisper within. I am teaching you to listen not with ears, but with spirit. If I spoke every day aloud, you would depend on sound, not on presence. But in silence, you learn to sense me, to know that real love needs no loud proof. It endures steady and quiet like a heartbeat in the dark. My beloved child, I am not silent because I am angry. I am silent because I trust. I trust that you have grown enough to walk in what I have already spoken. My silence is not withdrawal, it is confidence. Like a teacher who steps back during an exam, I have not left the classroom. I am quietly watching my student apply what has been learned. You may feel alone, but I am there only now. I am allowing you to discover the depth of your own faith. Faith is not measured by how inspired you feel when you hear me. It is proven by how steady you remain when you hear nothing at all. In the silence, the enemy will whisper that I have abandoned you. He will tell you that you've failed, that I am displeased, that grace has expired. Do not believe him. If grace had an expiration date, you would not still be breathing. The very fact that you still long, still seek, still hope is proof that I am near. Silence is not absence. It is the classroom of the soul. I am teaching you to distinguish between emotion and faith, between miracle and presence, between the word spoken and the one who speaks. Do you remember Elijah? He fled into the wilderness, exhausted and afraid. He looked for me in the wind, in the earthquake, in the fire, but I was not there. Then came a gentle whisper, 1 Kings 1:9-1-2. That was where I was not in the chaos, not in the spectacle, but in the quiet stillness. And so it is with you. I am teaching you to find me in the whisper, not the noise. You think I am distant, but all you need to do is stop rushing, stop measuring, stop fearing, and you will realize I have been beside you all along. Hear this tenderly. Silence is the language of mature love. When love is new, you need to hear, I love you every day. But as love deepens, a single glance can say everything. I want you to love me like that, to reach a place where you don't need constant proof, only presence. When you come near to me, simply because you desire me, not what I give you, are learning the language of heaven. For in heaven, presence itself is the speech. Some things can only mature in silence. A seed does not grow beneath applause, but beneath the soil unseen. In the same way, your faith is sprouting in this quiet. You cannot see it, but I am pushing its roots deeper, so that when the winds rise, it will not be uprooted. My silence is not wasted waiting, it is rooting time. When you see nothing happening, everything is happening beneath the surface. Sometimes my silence is protection. If I answered too soon, you would leave the process unfinished. If I opened the door now, you would step into it unprepared. I know the precise moment when your heart will be strong enough, your lips pure enough, and your hands steady enough to hold what you have asked for. So I am quiet, not because I have forgotten, but because I am preparing. You think I am still, but I am arranging, aligning, weaving every detail so that when the miracle comes, it will last, not fade. My silence is never the absence of my presence. When you cannot hear, look. When you cannot see, feel. When you cannot feel, remember. Remember the rescues, the words, the wonders. The memory of past grace will steady you in the present. Faith is not only waiting for what is new, it is remembering what has already proven true, that I have never failed, never missed a promise, never left you behind. You will one day look back and see that the silence was when I worked the deepest. For in silence, when you cannot hear my voice to guide you, you learn to trust my character. In silence, when there are no visible miracles, you begin to recognize the hidden one within you. In silence, when you feel nothing, you learn to live by belief alone. And it is there that you enter a new depth of love, the kind that no longer depends on words but rests in knowing I am always here. So when heaven seems closed, do not panic. I have only shut the noisy door to open a quiet one. Do not flee from silence, remain in it. There you will learn to hear me, not with your ears, but with your spirit. You will discover that I am not just the God of words, but the God of presence. And once you can find me in the quiet, no darkness will ever terrify you again, for you will know my silence has never been distance. It has always been an invitation to come closer. My child, there will be nights when everything you once believed feels shattered. Prayers seem to vanish. Visions once clear now blur into fog. You look around and see only darkness, and your heart cries out, "Lord, where are you?" What you do not know is that in that very darkness I am covering you more closely than ever. I know you long for those moments of tangible presence, the tears that turn to peace, the trembling in divine light, the prayers that seem to part the sky. But beloved, there is a kind of faith higher than feeling and deeper than wonder, the faith of the night. Faith that doesn't need to see, to hear, or to feel, yet knows I am near. When the light goes out, it is not because I have left. It is because I am teaching you to see with the eyes of your soul. Do you remember the night in Gethsemane my son knelt, his sweat like drops of blood, crying, "If it is possible, let this cup pass from me." But then he said, "Yet not my will, but yours be done." That is faith in the dark, not faith seeking comfort, but faith seeking my will. Heaven was silent, but angels were already on the way. When you think you've been abandoned, armies are moving. Not every miracle shouts, some unfold quietly, like your heart still beating even when you cannot hear it. I know the weight of the nights when the darkness feels suffocating, when every step feels blind, when doubt swirls like a storm. But it is in that moment that I hold you closest, like a mother cradling her child in the dark. The child cannot see, but the warmth is there. If you only trust when you see, that is not faith, it is sight. True faith begins where all senses end. It is anchored not in what you feel, but in who I am. I do not change. In light or shadow, I remain the same. Whether your emotions rise or fall, I am steadfast. When you rejoice, I am near. When you despair, I am no less near. When you grip my hand in confidence, I smile. But even when you let go, I still hold yours. You cannot slip from my grasp, for this love is not secured by your strength, but by my eternal covenant. Many think darkness means judgment, that silence means punishment. But not so, my child. Darkness can be the shelter for what I am shaping. A seed cannot sprout under noonday sun, it needs the darkness of soil. So too, your soul is growing in the night. You cannot yet see the life rising within you, but I can. I am stretching your roots, roots of trust, patience, and steadfastness. You cannot stand tall on the mountain of glory without first learning to stand firm in the valley of night. You say, I no longer feel you. But I ask, since when does my existence depend on your feelings? The sun remains even behind clouds. The light does not disappear. It is only hidden for a time. Believe that I still shine, still move, still hold you, even when you see nothing but shadow. You think you walk alone, but I am the one carrying you. Those footprints in the sand that you thought were yours, they were mine when I lifted you through the storm. The night is where you learn to trust my nature more than your senses. When I say I am good, that remains true even when you don't feel it. When I say I am faithful, that remains the bedrock even when life seems to contradict it. When I say I love you, nothing can separate you from that love, neither death nor life, neither angels nor powers. Romans 8:3-8:39. You may not feel me, but you are still surrounded. You may not see me, but I still see you. You may not hear me, but I am still speaking. Be still, child. The silence is not the end, it is where eternity begins to whisper. My child, there is a kind of faith that is only born in the deepest darkness. When you walk through the night and still sing that song, makes all of heaven bow in awe. When you pray and feel nothing, that prayer causes the angels to fall silent and listen. When you keep loving others, even when your heart feels empty, that love reflects my very nature. I see every small act of yours, and I record it. No tear falls without being kept in my bottle. You ask me, Lord, why won't you explain? And I answer, because I am revealing. Explanation belongs to the mind. Revelation belongs to relationship. If I explained everything, you would understand with your intellect. But if I let you walk through it, you would understand with your heart. Understanding with the mind can lead to pride, but understanding with the heart leads to humility, compassion, and trust. And that is the purpose of every dark season, to know me, not merely to know about me. When you look back one day, you will realize that it was in the night that I laid the foundation for your dawn. Like Jonah in the belly of the fish, you thought you were buried, but you were being prepared for release. Like Joseph in the prison cell, you thought your dream was dead, but I was shaping your heart to carry it when it came true. Like Job in the ashes, you thought I was silent, but I was rewriting the most glorious chapter of your story. So when darkness surrounds you, do not run from it. Learn to sit quietly in the night with me. Let the darkness become a cloak that covers you, allowing you to rest within my heart. Let your faith, even if faint, be a small lamp in the wind. You do not need a great light. Just keep the flame alive. Even a single spark is enough for the darkness to know it has lost. I promise you, morning will come. It may not arrive like fireworks bursting through the sky, but like a gentle beam slipping through your window, touching your soul softly. You will realize that I was never gone, that all along it was I who kept you from falling. You will cry out like Job, my ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you, Job 4:2-5. That is the reward of faith in the night, not an answer but an encounter. My beloved child, I know you are weary. Tired of waiting so long, tired because the promise still seems unfulfilled, tired because dreams that once felt within reach have slipped away again. You ask, Lord, where are you in this emptiness? Why are you silent when my heart is crying out? I hear every sigh, every whisper you cannot even form into words. Let me tell you this in the language of my deepest love. My delay is not my denial, it is the vessel of grace, the process through which I am preparing what is best not only for your future, but for who you are becoming. You often think the promise is delayed, but I am never late. I am always on time, not by the clocks of the earth, but by the rhythm of eternity. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day too. Peter 3:8. You see slowness because you count by minutes. I measure by seasons and purpose. If I hurry, what you receive will not endure. If I delay, it is because I am teaching you how to hold what you've prayed for. Some blessings, if given too soon, would be received but not kept. That is why I wait, not because I have forgotten, but because I love. Remember Abraham. He was promised a child, yet he had to wait until every natural possibility was gone before the son of promise arrived. Why? Because I wanted his faith to rest not in human strength, but in me. Remember Joseph, sold into slavery, imprisoned for 13 long years before he became a ruler. Had he been released too early, his heart would not have been wide enough to forgive, and the crown would have crushed him. But because he allowed me to refine him in the waiting, when the time came, he was ready not only to rule but to redeem. Delay is never wasted. It is preparation. You ask me, how much longer, Lord? And I answer, until I see in you what my grace is shaping. Waiting is not an empty pause. It is the unseen furnace where I forge faith, patience, and wisdom. I am molding in you the character that the blessing you seek will require. For I do not only want to give blessings, I want to preserve them. You seek results. I seek transformation. Results without character will make you stumble, but character refined by fire will make the blessing endure. My child, you are in a season of sowing. Sowing is not glamorous. It means digging deep, covering the seed, waiting, and believing that beneath the soil life is moving. You may not see anything yet, but the seed of faith is breaking open within. It hurts, but it is necessary. No seed can sprout without first breaking. Likewise, you cannot bring forth new life unless your heart has been opened. Do not rush to see signs, be patient. I am working where your eyes cannot see, preparing what your mind has not imagined, clearing paths you do not yet know exist. Waiting is the language of faith. Those who trust me learn to wait without fear. Waiting is not standing still. It is walking each day in quiet confidence that I am still leading. Waiting is not passive, it is trusting in action, continuing to sow love, to be faithful in the small things, to worship even in the dry season. For it is in those seemingly uneventful days that I am shaping you to carry a greater glory. My child, do you remember Martha and Mary? When Lazarus died, they said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I came 4 days later on purpose so that no one could call it coincidence. The miracle came late by human time, but right on time in heaven's calendar. I did not come to prevent death. I came to reveal that I am life itself. So it is with you, my beloved. What you call too late is often the very ground where your miracle will rise. Sometimes I delay not because you are unready, but because other elements are being aligned. I am adjusting timing, connecting people, opening paths, closing doors, so that when you step in, everything will harmonize perfectly. I do not act only for you. I act through you and because of you. So when it seems nothing is happening, I am building the stage behind the curtain. Like a musician tuning the strings before a grand symphony, the sounds may seem discordant now, but it is that very tuning that creates the perfect melody. You must know that waiting does not kill a dream, it refines it. It sifts ambition from purpose, leaving only what is born of love. For when you must wait, you begin to ask, why do I truly want this? And when your answer becomes, for you, Lord, then you are ready. Waiting transforms a request into surrender. It ceases to be, give me what I want, and becomes, do what you will in the way you choose. That is where faith matures. I am not the God of delay. I am the God of divine timing. Kairos, the sacred moment, never arrives early and never comes late. When it comes, everything fits like the final piece of a puzzle. Then you will look back and say, had it come sooner, I would not have been ready to hold it. You will realize that the days you called waiting were the days I was shaping you. I know that waiting can make you doubt yourself. You think, maybe I'm no longer chosen. But remember this, the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Romans 1:1-2-9. My silence does not cancel my promise. Time does not fade my covenant. When I speak, my words carry eternal life. They do not expire, even if you forget, even if you fall. You need only keep your heart soft, so that when my voice returns, it finds good soil to take root. Understand this, my child, waiting is not stopping. It is a different kind of movement, not by your feet, but by faith. When you stay faithful, when you keep loving, keep praising, keep believing in my goodness, even when you see nothing, you are moving toward your miracle. Every day of endurance is a step forward. You may not hear the sound, but heaven is shifting. And when I declare, the time has come, no power on earth or in hell can delay it for another moment. Do not fear this silence. Let it be the place of your preparation. Let me perfect you before I perfect your dream. For a dream is only truly beautiful when the heart carrying it reflects its giver. Do not ask, when ask, who am I becoming while I wait? Because when you change, the season changes. Everything I promised will come not early, not late, but in the moment when your heart is ready to hold it with humility, wisdom, and love. When I open the door, you will understand why it had to stay closed for so long. You will no longer complain, you will give thanks. For you will see that every delay was an invitation to step deeper into grace. And when it comes, you will rejoice not only for the miracle itself, but because you have become the kind of person who can keep it, the one who has learned the most precious truth of the kingdom. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Isaiah 40:31. My beloved child, you are not alone in this battle. Every sigh of yours is heard, every tear is recorded, every prayer becomes a command in heaven. There are things you cannot see, but know this. The heavens are moving, angels are being dispatched, and all of heaven is fighting for you. Do not be deceived by what your natural eyes see. There is an invisible battlefield surrounding you, not of earth, but of the Spirit. You are not only struggling against circumstances, people, or emotions, but against dark powers seeking to strangle your soul. As Paul wrote, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, authorities, and the powers of this dark world, and the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." Ephesians 6:1-2. You think you are fighting fear, but it is an attack on your faith. You think you are facing hurt, but it is a scheme to steal your identity. The enemy knows he cannot steal your soul as long as you remain in me, so he tries something subtler to make you lose trust in the one who loves you. He sows doubt, distorts your memories, and clouds your vision of my past faithfulness. He tires you not with great wars, but with small arrows, doubt, shame, fear, and weariness. But my child, I will not let you fight alone. From the very moment you cried, "Save me," the battle became mine. I have stationed heavenly armies around you. When you pray, legions of angels move. When you praise in your pain, light pierces the heavens. When you forgive instead of retaliate, chains of darkness break. When you choose love in bitterness, the enemy trembles. You do not see it, but every act of faith, every whisper of trust, every breath of hope is a strike that dismantles the enemy's ranks. There are battles you do not even realize are being fought. Sometimes I allow you to pass through testing not to make you fall, but to reveal the true source of your strength. Like Daniel, who prayed for 21 days thinking heaven was silent, yet the angel said, "From the first day you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself, your words were heard, but the prince of Persia resisted me." Daniel 1:1-13. So it is, with your prayers heard the moment you spoke them, but delayed by unseen warfare. Never think I have not heard. I have heard, and I am fighting to bring the answer through. When you are silent, I am still fighting. When you sleep, I watch over you. When you cry, I collect your tears in my bottle. When you whisper, "I can't anymore," I reply, "I can." My child, I am not a spectator, I am the commander of heaven's armies. Every force against you knows this truth. When I speak, the seas must still. When I raise my hand, the demons must flee. When I call your name, no power dares to touch your soul. The enemy fears most the one who knows they are not alone, because when you understand that heaven fights with you, fear loses its hold. You begin to walk not in pride, but in divine confidence. You realize that prayer is not a weak breath, but a flaming arrow through the darkness. Every time you declare my word, you claim new ground. Every time you worship in pain, you raise the banner of victory. My child, you must understand spiritual warfare is not something to fear, but something to be aware of. Do not fight in your own strength, for your strength will run dry. Instead, put on the full armor of God, the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the shoes of peace, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit. Ephesians 6, 1, 4, 17. Each of these is not merely a symbol. They are living power activated when you believe, when you declare, and when you walk in my light. The belt of truth keeps you steady against lies. The breastplate of righteousness guards your heart from accusation. The shoes of peace give you stability in a world of chaos. The shield of faith quenches every fiery dart of the enemy. The helmet of salvation protects your thoughts from fear and despair. And the sword of the Spirit, my word, is alive, cutting through every shadow, dividing truth from deception. See, I have not called you to be timid or withdrawn, but to be a holy warrior. Yet you do not fight alone. Every time you pray, I strengthen you. Every time you praise, I grant victory. When you fall, I do not retreat. I bend down, lift you up, dust off your armor, and place the sword back in your hand. For in my army no one is left behind. Know this: hell trembles every time you rise after a fall. The enemy hopes you'll stay down in shame, but when you whisper, I still believe, heaven erupts in praise. That is proof that your faith is real. This battle is not to expose your weakness, but to reveal my strength in you. And when victory comes, you will know it was never by your might, but by my faithfulness. Do not fear the darkness around you. The light within you is stronger. Do not fear the roar of the enemy. My voice within you thunders louder. Do not fear the weary days. My angelic armies surround you, awaiting my command. When I say enough, the storm will cease. When I say rise, you will stand. And when I declare victory, no power can stand against it. My child, this battle is not meant to destroy you, but to reveal through you the power of my glory. I will make you a living testimony that darkness cannot overcome light, that faith cannot be silenced, that love never fails. You will tell your story and say, I was weak, but he was strong. I was afraid, but he covered me. I wanted to give up, but he fought for me. And that story will awaken hope in many who are losing theirs. The outcome of this war has already been decided. I am on your side, and when I stand with someone, every force must bow. Believe this. Put on your armor, pray without ceasing. Let me fight, and you stand firm. For in the blazing heart of battle, you are never alone. You are surrounded by my hosts, enveloped by the light that never fades. My beloved, in every battle the wise do not fight with human power, but with spiritual weapons. The enemy may attack with fear, doubt, shame, and deceit, but you hold weapons he cannot resist: prayer, faith, and praise. These are not mere rituals. They are living forces from heaven, shaking darkness and opening the way for my intervention. Prayer is not a routine, it is the breath of your soul. When you pray, you exhale weakness and inhale my strength. Every word spoken in faith echoes through the heavens. The enemy fears those who truly pray for. He knows prayer is not just speech. It is the ignition of divine power. When you kneel, darkness trembles. When you say, Lord, help me, angels move at once. Even the smallest cry reaches me. You may think only long, eloquent prayers matter, but they do not. Power lies in truth of heart, not in length of words. I have answered prayers that were only a sigh and turned them into miracles. Do not pray as one begging a distant God. Pray as a child speaking to their father. Tell me your fears, your hidden dreams, the wounds you dare not touch. Do not fear your weakness. I do not seek perfect prayers, I seek the real you. When you are honest, your prayer becomes a sharp weapon forged in the fire of truth. Remember my promise in Jeremiah 3:3. Call to me and I will answer you and show you great and unsearchable things you do not know. Every time you pray, you open a doorway for me to step into your reality. Even if you do not see it immediately, every prayer is a brick laid in the wall of victory. When Daniel prayed, the angel was sent on the first day. When Elijah called, fire fell from heaven. When Jesus prayed, the stone itself broke open. And you who bear my name will see that same power move in your life. Do not stop praying even when all seems silent. In the silence, I am listening. In the waiting, I am working. In the tears, I am birthing triumph. My child, faith is not a feeling, it is a decision. A decision to trust me when emotions scream otherwise. A decision to hold on to my promise when circumstances shout impossible. Faith is the bridge between what you see and what I have spoken. Remember Abraham, he believed, and it was counted to him as righteousness. He did not believe because he saw, but because he knew the one who promised is faithful. True faith does not avoid the trial, it stands unshaken in it. Faith does not say everything is easy, it says everything is possible. Faith, my child, is like a seed. It need not be large, it just needs to be planted in the right soil. Plant it in your heart, water it with my word, protect it from the winds of doubt. When you hold fast to me, the impossible becomes possible. Faith does not change me. It changes you until your will aligns with mine. And when your heart beats in rhythm with my will, miracles cannot help but unfold. True faith does not cry, Lord, do what I want, but says, Lord, do what you know is best. It learns to rest even when the outcome is unseen. Because real faith does not require proof, faith itself is the evidence. My child, when you believe, you give me permission to move. I do not force open the doors of your heart, I only enter where faith has made a way. Even when your faith is as small as a mustard seed, it can move mountains. For the power is not in the size of your faith, but in the one in whom you place it. Keep that faith burning like a small flame in the dark night. Even if the wind blows hard, do not let it go out, for a single spark is enough to make the darkness retreat. My beloved, there is a power that hell cannot endure, the sound of praise rising in the midst of pain. The enemy longs for your complaint, your despair, your silence. But when you open your mouth and say, praise the Lord, even with a trembling heart, he is defeated. Praise is not denial of reality. It is the declaration of a higher truth. When Paul and Silas were chained in the darkest prison, they did not weep, they sang. And something miraculous happened. The chains broke, the doors flew open, and hearts were changed. Acts 1:6-5:26. That moment proved that praise is not just sound. It is a spiritual earthquake that shatters strongholds. When you praise me in suffering, you come into agreement with heaven. You are saying, I know you still reign, and that declaration silences the enemy. For in every battle, praise is the victory song before the victory is seen. Praise is also the key that unlocks peace. When you praise, your heart shifts, fear fades, faith rises, and your eyes begin to see me in the storm. On the days when you have nothing left to offer, offer thanksgiving. When you have no words, sing. When tears fall, let them mix with your song. For praise does not require circumstances, it requires a willing heart. I have promised, whoever offers praise glorifies me. Psalm 5:0-3. And when you glorify me, I manifest myself in your situation. Praise does not just change the atmosphere, it changes destiny. My child, when your prayer joins with faith and your faith merges with praise, you create a power that cannot be resisted. When you pray, you connect with me. When you believe, you open the door for me. And when you praise, you invite me to dwell among you. Where there is praise, I am present. Where there is faith, miracles are born. Where there is prayer, darkness must flee. These three, prayer, faith, and praise, flow together like a river of grace through your desert, causing dry ground to bloom with life. Do not underestimate the power in your hands. Every time you pray, believe, and praise, heaven trembles with movement. I do not ask you to fight with force, but to yield in trust. I do not need your loudness, only your depth. True power is not in noise. It is in my presence within you. Remember this: the enemy does not fear your plans. He fears your posture of surrender. He does not fear the strong. He fears the one who praises in brokenness. He does not fear eloquent words. He fears the heart that grows still to listen to me. For it is there in the stillness that victory is born. Use these weapons not only in crisis, but daily. True victory is not the absence of storms, but the peace of walking through them with me. When you live in prayer, faith, and praise, you do not merely dwell in light, you become the light. My child, I see the wind swirling around you. I see the weariness clouding your heart, the unspoken questions that make you want to let go. But remember this: the flame I placed in you was never meant to die in the storm. It was forged in fire, and only in fire does it shine brightest. When you face trials, you are not being diminished, you are being defined. Every blow, every tear, every moment you choose to rise instead of surrender, that is where your faith is forged. Faith does not grow in comfort, it matures in adversity. Like gold refined in the furnace, your faith is purified through testing. So do not fear the fire. My child, it is not sent to burn you, but to cleanse you. I know there are nights when you pray and hear nothing, days when you walk and see no sign from me. But in that silence I am doing my deepest work. Silence is not my absence. It is the sacred space where I rekindle your inner flame. That fire, though faint, still burns. Even when you feel cold, I am breathing new life into the ashes. Remember Daniel's 3 friends. When they were thrown into the furnace, their enemies thought it was the end. Yet when the king looked, he saw 4 men walking in the fire, and the 4th looked like a son of the gods. Daniel 3:2-5. They were not consumed. Instead, their bonds were burned away and they walked free. My child, I am doing the same for you. This fire is not meant to destroy you. It is burning away the chains that held you. You will emerge without even the smell of smoke, Daniel 3:2-7. Trials do not prove my absence. They reveal my nearness. When you walk through the fire, I am with you. When you pass through the waters, they will not sweep over you. Isaiah 4:3-2. I never promised a life without pain, but I promised that no pain would be wasted. In every loss, I am planting resurrection. In every failure, I am laying the foundation for triumph. In every tear, I am writing a story in the ink of grace. Do not let fear make you forget that I have overcome the world. When the waves rise, look to me. Like Peter walking on water, he stood firm when his eyes were fixed on me, but began to sink when he looked at the storm. The key lies in your focus. Do not look at fear or limitation. Look at the one who called you to walk upon the waves. When your eyes are on me, you will remember you were not created to sink, but to walk on what once threatened to drown you. There are seasons when you think you're standing alone, but I am right behind you, steadying you when you stumble. The strength you have today was not born from ease, but from the nights I carried you through the dark. Every scar you bear is not a mark of defeat, but a testimony of victory. You ask, Lord, how much longer? And I answer, until the fire within you burns bright enough to light the way for others. So do not only ask me to remove the trial, ask me to walk with you through it. For my presence is the truest victory of all. My child, a steadfast flame is not one that never flickers. It is the flame that never goes out, even when the wind blows hard. Steadfastness does not mean you never feel weary. It means you do not let weariness rule you. True faith is not the absence of fear, but the choice to trust in the midst of fear. I am not asking you to be unbreakable, but to be unshakable in me. Do not think I am disappointed when you are weak. It is in your weakness that I am most glorified. When you say I can't, I say I can. When you fall, I say rise again. When you lose hope, I say I am still working. And so, through every fall and every rising, I am forging you into a warrior of light. Remember this, no one can take away the flame I have placed within you. They may doubt you, mock you, or wound you, but they cannot touch what belongs to me. Every time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, that flame burns brighter. Every time you choose faith over fear, it grows stronger. Every time you choose love over revenge, that light spreads further. Do not fear being tested. It is the test that confirms you are chosen. The enemy does not attack what has no value. He targets what carries eternal potential. He knows there is a torch within you that I have lit, and he seeks to smother it with fear, discouragement, and shame. But he forgets, this flame was not lit by your hands, but by mine, and what I ignite, no one can extinguish. When you are weary, rest in me. When you are confused, be still in me. When your faith feels as fragile as a thread, let me tie it together again. You do not have to always burn brightly, just do not walk away from me. I will keep the flame alive. I will breathe new life into it when it fades. I will shield it from the winds of doubt, and when the time is right, I will use that flame to light the path for others lost in the dark. Steadfast faith is not measured by how many times you do not fall, but by how many times you return to me. No matter how often you stumble, come back. I do not count your failures, I count your returns. For in each return, love deepens, our bond strengthens, and your flame burns purer. I did not call you to live without fire. I called you to become the fire, a flame of love, of faith, of unending hope. No matter how cold the world becomes, your light will testify that darkness cannot overcome the light. So stand firm. Do not take your eyes off me. Do not let your flame die out from fear or disappointment. Feed it with my word, with prayer, with praise. And when I see that light in you, I will use it to ignite what others thought was beyond redemption. I do not seek perfection. I seek perseverance. I do not choose the strong. I choose the faithful. I do not need the loud. I need those who dare to keep the fire when the night is long. You are that one. You are the small lamp in the storm, yet your light will guide many. And when everything around you crumbles, when ashes cover the ground, you will still stand, not because of your strength, but because I have kept you. For the flame within you is not human, it is the flame of heaven. My child, there are things in your life that seem permanently closed dreams, buried beneath the dust of time, relationships you thought beyond repair, faith that seems extinguished by pain. You have looked upon them and whispered, "It's over." But I, the God of resurrection, say to you, it is not over. I am the one who makes a death bow, the one who turns tombs into beginnings. What you thought was the end is only a pause between chapters, not the final page. For in my hands death never has the last word, grace does. Just as the dawn follows the darkest night, life always rises again in my light. Do you remember Lazarus? When he was laid in the tomb, the stone sealed, and hope seemed gone. Everyone said, "It's too late." But I came and spoke, "Lazarus, come forth." And he walked out, still wrapped in grave clothes, but alive once more. John 1:4-3:44. My child, what I did for Lazarus was not just an ancient miracle. It is the pattern of how I move in your life. What you believe is buried, I can resurrect. What you call too late, I call right on time. What you think has ended, I call reborn. Because I am the God who breathes life into dust, who brings beauty from ashes, and who calls light out of darkness. You may feel the tomb closing the stone ceiling, but even there, listen, my voice still calls your name. And when I speak, even death must release its grip, so do not despair, for I am not finished. The flame within you still burns, and soon it will rise again, stronger, purer, and brighter than before. My child, there are things you thought were dead that I am preparing to call back to life. There are parts of your soul that seem dry and desolate, yet I am about to release rivers of living water there. You believe you are too late, but I say to you, now is exactly the right time. For when every human voice grows silent and every earthly hope fades away, that is when my true power is revealed. Beloved, resurrection is not merely an event of the past. It is a living reality within you. The same power that raised my son from the grave now dwells in you. Romans 8:1-1. This means nothing within you is ever truly lost. With one word from me, the heartbeat of life returns. But understand, this resurrection always follows death. There can be no dawn without night, no rebirth without burial. Sometimes I allow something to die, not because I am cruel, but because it must die to live rightly. Dreams born of the flesh must perish, so that those conceived by the Spirit may rise. Faith built on self must crumble, so that true faith in me can be born. When I close a door, it is not to make you despair, but to keep you from clinging to something too small. Some things must fall away because they cannot hold the glory I am about to reveal. Like a grain of wheat that falls to the ground, if it does not die, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. John 1:2-4. I know the dying process hurts, but in my kingdom, no pain is wasted. I am teaching you that resurrection is not merely an outer miracle, but an inner transformation. It does not simply restore what was lost, it redefines who you are. When I call the dead to life, they never return the same. They return transformed, anointed, and radiant with new glory, like Joseph after the prison, Job after the trial, and Jesus after the cross. You may feel like you are in the tomb part of your story, silent, sealed, lifeless. But I say to you, the stone will roll away, light will enter the darkness, and you will rise not merely to live, but to live with the power of resurrection. Remember, the enemy always mistakes the grave for the end. He rejoices when you fall, when hope seems buried. But he forgets that I specialize in tombs. I bring life out of death, growth out of barrenness, and glory out of wounds. When he thinks he has won, I begin my restoration. You say I have nothing left, but I say I only need ashes. For I am the one who gives beauty for ashes, joy for mourning. Isaiah 6:1-3. To me, ashes are not the end, they are the raw material of miracles. You think you are weak, but I call you rebuilt. You think you are empty, but I declare I will put my spirit within you, and you will live. Ezekiel 3:7-1-4. I will cause the dry bones of your life, your dreams, your relationships, your calling, to come together and stand as a mighty army. Sometimes I allow you to reach the point of death, not to end you, but to free you from the fear of death. For only when you realize you have nothing left to hold, you are finally free to trust me completely. When you stop looking at people, you begin to look to heaven, and it is in that surrender that resurrection power flows. You will see that resurrection is not just me making something live again, it is me making all things new. I do not simply rebuild walls, I lay new foundations. I do not merely return what was lost. I give more than you ever had before. Like Joseph, who was betrayed yet used to save many. Like Job, who lost everything but received double in the end. Like Jesus, who was crucified but rose to open salvation for the world. So it will be with you. My child, every loss will become a testimony of my power. When you step out of your tomb, you will not be the same. You will carry eyes that see deeper, a heart that loves gentler, and faith that stands firmer. You will understand that every breaking I allowed was to birth something eternal. Believe that your resurrection hour is near. It may not arrive with thunder, but with the whisper of dawn. One day you will awaken and realize that what once died within you beats again, a dream, a purpose, a spark of hope revived by my breath. And when that moment comes, you will know it was not your striving, but my faithfulness, not your strength, but my unending presence. Even when you could no longer believe, I was believing for you. So prepare yourself. Clear the ashes from your heart, for I am about to breathe new fire. Open the tomb of your soul, for I am about to call your name once more. Be ready for the breath of my spirit to reach even the places you thought were gone forever. For this is your season of resurrection. And I, the one who rolled away the stone from the empty tomb, is now rolling away every stone that has blocked the flow of blessing in your life. My child, listen closely. What I am about to speak will help you see the worth of every wound you have carried. Every loss you thought was meaningless, every sorrow that felt endless, every tear shed in silence, they are all being woven into a tapestry of grace. You have not been losing, you have been being restored. Yet my restoration is unlike the world's. I do not merely return, I renew. I do not simply mend, I recreate. My grace does not bloom in perfection. It blossoms through brokenness. Like the olive crushed for oil and the grape pressed for wine, your soul releases its heavenly fragrance only through surrender. No one desires to be broken, but it is through those very cracks that my healing oil flows. What you call failure is the doorway into deeper grace. I have not forgotten what you lost. I have not ignored your tears or overlooked your lonely nights. Every sigh, every cry, every trembling prayer has been recorded in your book of life in heaven. Each one is a seed of grace that will one day bloom in beauty. You ask, how can what was bitter become sweet? And I answer, because I am the one who turned the bitter waters of Mara into sweetness. Exodus 1:5-3:25. The place where you drank tears will become a well of joy. The places where you were rejected will become places of healing for others. What you thought was taken forever will return in forms beyond your imagination. My restoration begins not outwardly but within. I do not rush to give back what was lost until your heart is ready to hold it. I restore layer by layer your spirit, your memories, your hidden fractures, for I do not merely wish to see you happy, I long to see you free. When I restore, I do it so completely that you will scarcely recognize the wound. It remains, but it no longer hurts. It becomes a mark of victory. You will look back and say, if not for that storm, I would never have known how near my God truly was. My grace is the divine paradox of heaven's kingdom, losing yet gaining, breaking yet healing, dying yet living again. You once thought I worked only through great miracles, but I also move through the small, the slow, and the unseen. A quiet conversation, a compassionate glance, a whispered prayer, each is a thread of restoration. Remember Job. He lost everything, children, wealth, health, but when he prayed for his friends, I restored him, double Job 4:2-10. True restoration begins when you choose to forgive, to love, to bless instead of resent. Forgiveness is the master key that unlocks the floodgates of grace. I do not promise to erase your past, but I promise to redeem it. Every event, every scar, every broken piece will serve my good. I will take the very bricks the enemy used to bury you and build from them a new foundation of glory. What he meant for harm, I will turn for good. Genesis 5:0-20. This, my child, is the power of resurrection and restoration, the song of grace that turns ashes into crowns, sorrow into praise, and graves into gardens. My child, the enemy tried to wound you, so that you would close your heart, but I allowed it that your heart might expand. Only a heart that has been broken can hold greater love. Only a soul that has known loneliness can truly show compassion. Only one who has wept can know how to dry another's tears. Grace does more than lift you up, it gives you new authority. You will no longer speak of me in theory, but from experience. You will no longer preach faith. You will become its living evidence. When you rise after being broken, others will see in your eyes a light no storm could ever extinguish. They will know that the Lord is near to the brokenhearted. I am never in haste. My restoration is holy and deliberate. Each day I add a little more light, a little more strength, a little more joy. You may not notice the change day by day, but one morning you will awaken and realize the wound has healed, your heart has softened, and your smile has returned. You will not know the exact moment it happened, for grace always works in quiet places. When I restore, I do not return you to where you were. I lift you higher. Like a tree that seems diminished after pruning, you are being prepared for a greater bloom. Your wounds are not the end, they are the roots of new fruit. And when you are restored, you will become a vessel of restoration for others. You will speak the right words in the right season, not with judgment but with tenderness. You will not only proclaim truth, but you will heal hearts. I will turn your pain into a language that reaches other souls. Let me finish what I have begun. Do not try to mend yourself with your own strength. You will only reopen the wound. Rest still in my hands, for I am the healer. I never ruin my creation. The cracks within you I will fill with the gold of grace, and when the light shines through it will reflect brighter than before. One day you will say, I would never wish to go through that again, but I am thankful God was in it. You will understand that loss did not destroy you. It transformed you into someone who loves deeper, believes stronger, and lives truer. Grace never comes late, my child. It always arrives on time, like the rain after a long drought. When I restore my very life. It is not just your circumstances that change. It is your soul that blossoms anew. Not only do the tears stop falling, but your heart blooms with peace. You will see ashes turn to crowns, ruins turn to temples, mourning turn to song. And when you stand in that light, you will understand nothing is ever lost in the hands of God. Everything entrusted to me I make alive, I make beautiful, I make meaning. For I am the restorer, and my grace has no expiration. My beloved child, when all things on earth have passed, when the noise of the world fades away, when your heart no longer trembles between loss and hope, you will finally understand what I have been teaching you all along. Every road, no matter how winding, leads you back to me. Every trial, every tear, every waiting season, even the deepest wounds, all are steps on the journey home to your Father's arms. The purpose of life is not to achieve much, but to become one in love. When you grasp this truth, you will see that true victory is not in what you accomplish, but in how fully I live through you. You were not created for status or applause. You were created to reflect my glory. That glory is not an external light. It is the fire awakening within you. It is my breath inside your being. It is peace that surpasses understanding, love that transcends emotion, and presence that drives out fear. As you enter this stage of your journey, you will no longer need to prove anything. You will simply know you belong to me, and I belong to you. There is a sacred moment that every soul who loves me will one day experience, the meeting of light and shadow, where every question finds its answer, every doubt dissolves, and you realize that none of your pain was in vain. At that moment, you will no longer ask, "Why did you allow this?" but will exclaim, "Lord, you have been so good." My love is not only the power that sustains your life, it is the divine glue that binds every shattered piece of your soul into wholeness. When this love is perfected in you, there will be no division between sacred and ordinary, between worship and daily living. Every breath, every step, every word will become an act of love. You will not strive to believe, you will become belief itself. I know how weary your soul has become. The world, with all its noise, betrayals, and deceit, has caused you to close many doors. But I am here to open the final door within you, the door of union. There you will no longer feel distant from me. There you will no longer seek me out there, for I am already within you. You have heard my voice in storms, in valleys, in tears, but now you will hear me in the stillness of peace. There will be no more striving, no more proving your devotion, for you will have become one with the light that never fades. Imagine that day, the day you see me face to face. No more fear, no more guilt, no more distance. Your eyes will meet mine, and in that instant every question will vanish like mist. You will realize that I never left you, not for a single moment. You will see every step you took and understand that each time you thought you walked alone, I was carrying you. My love will not merely surround you, it will become you. You will no longer ask, "Where are you?" For you will be the very place where I dwell. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. Galatians 2:20. That is the ultimate glory, not only to see me, but to live in me. Then you will understand why I allowed you to walk through seasons of pain, not to break you, but to remake you. Like a potter crushing the imperfect clay to form a masterpiece, I have dismantled what was unstable to reshape you into my likeness. You will see that every pruning made space for something greater to grow. Every delay was shaping you to look more like me. You will see I have never forgotten a single promise. Every word I spoke has come to pass. No tears were wasted, no trial ignored. All of it has been woven into the robe of glory you will wear when you stand before me. On that day you will no longer plead, you will understand. You will no longer fear, you will rest. You will no longer search, you will abide. Your soul will flow into the river of endless love, where time dissolves, where every wound is healed, where you will no longer need to earn love, because you will be in love itself. I tell you this not as a promise of a faraway day, but as an invitation to begin living it now. You do not have to wait for eternity to be one with me. Even now, if you open your heart, I will dwell within you. I will make my home for you. You will carry heaven into the world. My child, when you forgive, you open the gates of heaven. When you love the ones who are hardest to love you, reflect on me. When you remain at peace in the midst of chaos, you reveal that my kingdom truly reigns within you. This is the ultimate glory I long for you to reach, to live in perfect union with your Creator. No longer divided between body and spirit, between faith and daily life, between prayer and action. Everything becomes one sacred flow, my love in you and you in me. Then you will walk unafraid of the future, unbound by the past. All that once was will turn into light, guiding your next steps. You will stop asking, "When, Lord?" For you will have learned that every moment is holy. I will turn your very life into a symphony of grace. Every note, joyful or sorrowful, is needed to compose the perfect melody. And when that melody rises, the world will hear heaven's song through you. And when that day comes, you will not enter glory alone. You will bring with you the souls your light has touched, the ones you loved, forgave, and prayed for. They will stand beside you singing glory to the Lamb who was slain, who turns ashes into crowns. Everything that has passed will become the prelude to a chapter that never ends, a chapter I call eternal love. And when the universe falls silent and only the whisper of the Spirit remains, you will hear me speak once more, as on the first dawn of creation. Rest now, my child. All is finished. You are home. Thank you for listening to today's message. If this word touched your heart, subscribe and turn on the notification bell to receive more of His living words, so together we may build unshakable faith and walk daily in the boundless love of Christ. Amen.